Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tarot and Truth with Magic Mom. I am Nina Diedrich, and we are discussing the full moon in Pisces today, which I believe is at 6:54 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which is our time here in New Orleans. So I know it's been a bit. I am going to do a few updates first, and then we will dive into today's reading. As you can see, the tarot decks are out and set back up again, and we are definitely ready to get back at it. So lots of things have been happening over the last 6 weeks. We went out to the property. Our trip was cut really, really short due to Hurricane Ida coming in. And we made it back just in time to spend a bajillion years evacuating with everyone else into Mississippi, where our oldest daughter lives and our granddaughter. We stayed with them for a few days and then came home. Everything is okay here. We did lose power for quite a bit, and that was extremely uncomfortable considering we had over 100-degree real field temps with no air conditioning and like 150% humidity. It was kind of gross, and I'm glad it's over. We got our power back. I believe it was about 10 days, I think it took to come back on. Since then, our son's gone back to school. Everything's kind of resumed. But while we were gone, we all contracted COVID. That was not fun. It is the second time that we've all had it, so we knew exactly what to do. None of us got really, really sick. It just takes a long time to recover from it. We're all kind of run down still a little bit, and I might have to take a few drinks or so I don't cough my brains out too much. But honestly, it actually wasn't too bad. I think I've had colds that were worse. The worst part was I did lose my taste and sense of smell for almost 2.5 weeks. And that was extremely uncomfortable considering I spend the majority of my time cooking, and it's really difficult to cook and eat without smell or taste. So that was no fun. Definitely something I don't want to repeat, but we all fared just fine. Now, the full moon in Pisces today is really it's actually also the full harvest moon too. So if you're somewhere where there is clearing today, you should be able to get a really nice view of it tonight too. The full moon in Pisces is kind of a really dreamy, kind of creative time, but it can also bring about a lot of breakthroughs and change and reveal to us things that we don't want to continue in our lives, or that we do too as well. So make sure you are really paying attention to the signs and synchronicities around you right now. They'll definitely be pointing you in the right direction. The Pisces full moon is also going to be really activating the Virgo sun. I think we only have like 2 more days-ish or so in Virgo. So we're really going to be completing those lessons that we started at the end, or right after the last full moon. Because Virgo is an earth sign and it's more dedicated to practical details, and Pisces being a water sign, with a lot of intuition and creativity. Um, a lot of creation things are going to be going on right now, but it's going to be coming about through really practical, commonplace kind of applications in our daily life. This is not necessarily going to be um, bringing about a lot of massive change for like the entirety of our lives or our destinies, but more focusing on how we can change things in our daily life in order to become more in harmony with the aspects that are going on between Virgo and Pisces. Um, it could have some long-term endeavors involved too, where it may be like a 5-year planish, but it's definitely not going to be like a 50-year plan. Um, the ideas and relationships and concepts and things that are going to be going on right now, and also um, coming to completion right now, are all things that have required work in one form or another. The full moon's potential in this um, is going to bring about a lot of really awesome and potent connections too, as well. There's some aspects that are going to be hard, and then there are some that are going to be really, really amazing. So you kind of gotta balance both sides of it right now. The um, I keep hearing some people calling this kind of like a relationship revolution too, as well. So this may have something to do with how we're all seeing the world too, as well, not just in our own um, one-on-one relationships, but in our relationships to everything, and also the world around us too, and how we're relating to that. So I'm expecting to see a lot of really awesome big ideas pop up. There is also a slightly tense connection going on between Venus and Scorpio, and Saturn and Aquarius, and Uranus, which is in Taurus, I think, and it's retrograde too. So, um, those of you with Taurus retrograde in your natal chart won't necessarily feel this quite as much, but there's definitely going to be a lot going on with contracts. Um, Mercury, because Mercury's in Libra, and so there may be some contract stuff going on in our relationships too. So I would think that this kind of relates more to our business relationships, or our um, not necessarily our love relationships, but the relationships outside of that. It's also going to be forming a really kind of harmonious connection with Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius too, but it could initiate some structural changes in what is going on because Pluto's retrograde in Capricorn too. So there's a lot of energy going on right now. So let's dive into the cards and see what everything is going to kind of bring about. I'm going to read the um, Pisces full moon out of the Moonology card deck. These are by Yasmin Boland. And then we'll actually draw a card to see what kind of um, complementary energy is coming out with this Pisces full moon too, as well. I should have marked this and I didn't. Oh well, it is what it is, right? And if I didn't say it before, I hope all of you guys are doing amazing, and it's really good to be back. Hopefully, we are done with all the internet difficulties from Ida, and we can continue where we left off. All right. Oh, I thought it was in the front. I guess it's not. Okay, here it is. Okay, so the full moon in Pisces energy is about balancing our spirituality and our practicality too, as well. So it says, have you ever been so head in the clouds that you've lost touch with reality? If so, take this card as a sign that you need to pay attention and make a concerted effort to move towards your goals. The more practical step. Oh my goodness. Somebody thinks they have I think somebody has some compensation issues outside. They're revving their engine on a 20-mile-an-hour road out front. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. Let me try to start that over again. It says to take this card as a sign that you need to pay attention and make a concerted effort to move toward your goals. The more practical steps you can take, the better. It's time to find an inner balance between your responsibilities and your dreams. So meditate on your question, and the solutions to your issue may now come through very clearly. If you're in a tricky situation because you've been acting the martyr, this card will be a message from the cosmos to drop the act for everyone's sake. I know I've done that a few times over the last couple weeks, so that kind of makes a little bit more sense. To attune to this moon, meditate every day and see what comes to you. Make sure you journal that too as well. You'll definitely want to look back over it over the next 3 months or so and see what kind of comes from that too, or just to remind yourself what your goals are at this particular time period. Okay. Hello, Bridget. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Additional meanings for this card say you're in a super romantic but not super realistic state. To follow your intuition because it won't let you down. And at worst, this card can herald the end of a dream. It also could represent that the person you're inquiring about during this time period could potentially be a soulmate. I don't usually like to make those kind of distinctions, but it's in the book. It also reminds us to avoid substance abuse right now, too, because the moon is in sort of a dreamy, super creative point right now. Um, the urge to overindulge in things that may not keep our feet on the ground could come about. So, the teaching of the full moon in Pisces says Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So, the full moon in Pisces symbolically marks endings. And when the moon is full in Pisces, or whenever you pull this card, it's a time to dive deep into your emotions. Practicality is at odds with the numinous Piscean energies that have no borders. So feel your way now. And psychic ability is also going to be heightened when the full moon is in Pisces. And soulmates now connect. It's also a time to send out your dreams to the universe, releasing your fears. Okay. Bingo, Bridget. It is a good time to let go of those things that are holding us back right now. So write it all down, burn it, and let the wind take it away. It's a great exercise in what we can accomplish when we set our minds to it. All right. So now let's pull out the actual deck, and we'll get a complimentary card from this Moonology deck. And I'm just going to read the general aspect or meaning of the card out of the book, but they gave me two. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so we get the new moon card, which reminds us that a new start is coming. So we're definitely going to be leaving some things behind right now and um, getting ready to, I don't want to say call in, but let in some new energy as the next new moon comes about. And the new moon in Gemini came out. So whenever the so let's see, that would be May. So sometime in the next 6 months ish, we're definitely going to be launching on something completely new from where we are right now due to something that we let go during this Pisces new moon. So I really like where those were. All right. Let's see. What else do we want to pull out today? Let's get. All right. Let's pull a couple affirmators cards and we'll just pull those straight out of the deck. 1, 2, 3. So we have a family card, a general card, and a love and relationships card. Let's start with the general affirmation. Oh, and we get a bonus. So we're definitely going to be retreating into ourselves and finding that sense of sanctuary. And the get centered card comes out with that too as well. So this is a funny little ad lib that says when it gets to be too much, whatever it is, we're going to close our eyes and return to our center. And in our center, we have the wisdom and tranquility of a unicorn. Or, no, of a rabbit holding a unicorn floating through space on a rainbow, right? That's funny. And the sanctuary card reminds us that we get a lot of kudos right now. It says, good for you. It seems you've earned some time away from the chaos in life. It could be as small as a bubble bath or as big as a trip. Or maybe it's a small trip to a big bubble bath or a normal sized trip to a tiny bubble bath. Or maybe you tripped and fell in someone's bath. Whatever it is, it's waiting for you with open arms. Just pick your favorite sanctuary and unplug for a bit, especially if a bath is involved, right? So, I mean, taking a bath is a good way to get centered, right? Do a little bit of meditation too while you're in there. And then when you get out, immediately write all of the awesome ideas that come to you while you're in there. And then work on those until the next new moon and see what comes about over the next 6 months or so, huh? I say that's a pretty good message. I love these cards. They're so funny. Okay, so let's step over to our love and relationships card and we get ownership. Okay, so the ownership card is not only about taking ownership about the way you're interacting with other people, but also with how you're interacting with yourself too, as well. So, our goal for this full moon period is to take ownership of how we make others feel. And we're going to do our part to repair any bridges we might have burned or perhaps even lightly singed. And if bridge mending feels impossible, then we can start small. And instead of becoming a bridge architect, maybe we'll just skip the bridge and walk the long way around because taking ownership is great for burning calories, right? I love it. So we're going to be really getting centered, taking ownership of what we are doing and saying and thinking and feeling and all of that with ourselves, with others. Um, and then, when it gets to be too much, find your favorite sanctuary and, well, unload it all and start again. Now, our family card is the gentle reminders card. this is not just about giving gentle reminders to the people around you, but also giving yourself gentle reminders too as well. Because I know it's really, really hard sometimes to, well, talk to yourself nicely. We are our own worst critics. And that's definitely something we need to be working on because your emotional vibration is what you're calling in from the universe. So we really want to, not that you're never going to have moments where you're feeling negative things, but we're going to start turning those around a lot faster um, in order to get back in our center, so to speak. So, the Gentle Reminders card reminds us that we're going to empower ourselves to advocate for our feelings, our well being, and our all around mental health. And when someone pushes our buttons, we can oh so gently and impressively lightheartedly remind them that this isn't our particular cup of tea. And then we can make them a nice jasmine chai so they can taste the difference, right? Gentle reminders, especially when you're dealing with people that are pissing you off. Nice. Okay, so definitely a lot about staying in our center and working through all of those kind of icky things. Um, and in some cases, letting them go because you know they're no longer serving your highest good. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to grab one from the Soul Coaching deck by Denise Lynn. And, ooh, we get impeccability. Okay, so we are impeccable in our thoughts, words, and deeds. I think we were just kind of talking about that. So this is about really taking ownership of what we are creating in our own reality. And the impeccability card to me is not just about being impeccable to what you know, what you're saying to other people or the deeds that you're doing, but also what you're thinking to yourself and um, doing for yourself too as well. It's about not getting on your case because you need to take extra time to rest, or you just need to cry it out, or you know, you didn't do the 5 mile jog that you planned on doing and beating yourself up about not following through. This is definitely about being gentle and reminding yourself that, you know, all things in good time, right? To go with that one, let's get a Sacred Traveler card also from Denise Lynn, and we'll read this one out of the book. This is about discovering our truth, right? We were talking about this at the beginning. It says, you stand in the light of truth. A very gentle reminder to yourself about where you are in life and where your highest aspect wants to see you to as well. The Discovering Truth card also reminds us to listen to the wisdom that rises from our soul, even if those around you don't agree. Trust your instincts, be yourself, whatever the situation, and respond from the authentic place inside of you. Be starkly honest with yourself, speak your truth, live your truth, walk your talk. So listen to your inner guidance and follow it, because you radiate the energy of truth to others so that they can find their truth as well. It's a lot harder to not face the truth of who and what you are when somebody is living so out loud who and what they are. And, well, we're all trying to remind ourselves that we are love, right? Oh, I feel you on the disappointed and angry. Um, and I think that's kind of a really big feel right now that a lot of us are going through. And I know for me personally, I just have to kind of rage it out sometimes and then gently remind myself that no matter what it looks like outside of me, I know inside of me that there is peace and love and joy. And the more I can stay in that vibration, the more I will call that into myself too, as well. And sometimes that means, you know, slapping a little makeup on it and tell you feel pretty again. I mean, just as an example, um, because, sometimes things need a new paint job. And right now, I think life is getting a big, giant whitewash. So we'll see where this goes from here. The card also says to that if you're facing a decision and your mind says one thing and your heart is saying something else, to follow the dictate of your heart, and you'll always be on the right path. If you get a nudge to speak to someone or go in a particular direction, don't hesitate and follow this guidance. On your journey, others may indicate what path you should take and why. You can listen to their advice. However, if your heart indicates another way, follow that, because there's a place inside of yourself that always knows the truth. Take time to be still, to discover that genuine place of knowing within, because often the hardest thing about living your truth is discovering what it is in the first place. So it's important to slow down, be quiet, and listen to the whispers of your soul. If there's an area of your life in which you're not being authentic or where you're not in integrity with your values, this is the time to make some changes and definitely take ownership of what that is and make sure that you are constantly, gently reminding yourself that you are safe, loved, protected, and prosperous, and loved beyond measure. Always and always. And if we can just be good to each other and not contribute to all of the insanity around us right now, um, we'll weather through this just fine. But the choice is always yours. Where you're vibrating, love or fear, you pick. I know sometimes it's easier than others, and sometimes it's really fucking hard. But it is what it is, and we are definitely being called to choose right now. And that message has been going for a long time now. So this should come as no surprise that things are finally coming to a giant head all around us. But we'll make it through, just like we always do, by sticking together, being good to each other, and reminding the world around us that there are good things because we're love, and that's what we're here to be. So try not to pay attention to too much of the negativity. I know it's really difficult in today's era of information, but ultimately follow what feels right to you and try to stay there as much as possible. All right. Let's see. Let's get a Universe Has Your Back card by Gabrielle Bernstein. And we get The Universe Works Fast When We're Having Fun. Perfect reminder. So when we are having fun with what we're doing, we're not paying attention to the asinine idiocy all around us, right? we're paying attention to whatever it is that we're having fun with. And that's going to look different for everyone. So I'm not getting any really huge message about any areas that you should really concentrate in, but joy. So we really need to focus in on that peaceful, joyful aspect of our souls that reminds us that everything's going to be okay, you know? And a lot of times we look outside of ourselves for that validation and we need somebody to say it, but sometimes, well, sometimes the only one you're really going to believe is yourself. And you need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and go, we've survived crappy crap before, and this is going to be no different. And we're still going to come out the other side just as joyful and just as happy. And if we're really, really lucky, even happier because we weathered something awful just a little bit easier than last time, you know, by reminding ourselves that, well, we've already we have already survived 1,000% of the things that life has thrown at us already. So what's one more thing? You know, that's something that's never going to change in this life is change. And the more our awakened self expands and encompasses the truth of all that is, the easier and easier it gets to kind of, you know, ride out the speed bumps. And, you know, sometimes it's a giant sinkhole that, you know, pops our tire off, you know, our car, but it's fixable, right? And we have to sometimes just take a deep breath and remind ourselves yet again that everything is always working out for us and all our wants and needs are met above and beyond our greatest expectation. And sometimes you have to say that over and over and over and over again. And you'll feel like a broken record. But really, that is the reality of it. And as soon as you convince yourself that that is the truth, the solution will usually come to you, mostly just because you've aligned yourself with the solution instead of focusing on the problem. And that's really going to be something that's going to be becoming easier and easier as we continue through the end of this year. So, Pisces is activating this Virgo sun. So, practicality and creativity are the words of the day. Or I should say, for the next, you know, full moon to full moon period. And I am going to try to get on here a little bit more. I also wanted to remind you that our other channel, Eden Springs Homestead, I did release another video. It's not quite exactly what I wanted it to be because it was a really quick trip. But it does give you a little bit of an idea of what we are looking at for our next big adventure there, which is going to be clearing our property. And boy, was it crazy a mess. It was a beautiful mess, but it was a mess. So find your sanctuary, get real comfortable in it, and focus on what it is that you want to create over this next cycle. And I will see you guys really soon. So make sure you hit the bell button and subscribe so you get notified when I go live. And thank you to those of you who are new and those of you who are returning. I love you beyond measure, and I can't do this without you. So, bye everyone. Be good. Be good to yourselves. be good to each other because we're changing the world every day, one soul at a time, starting with our own. Bye now.